This is Contemporary Chinese, Revised Edition, Volume 1, Unit 1, Words and Expression. What's your surname? 您贵姓? 您贵姓? If we break that expression up and have a look at it, so at the start of the expression, we're using 您 to mean you. It says here that it's the honorific form, and I guess another way to think about it is that 您 is the polite form of you in Chinese. The informal form is the word 你. But when you're trying to be polite to somebody or show respect to somebody, maybe somebody that's senior to you, somebody that's older than you, or if you're meeting somebody for the first time, then generally speaking, you want to be more polite and you'll use the polite form of you, 您. The next character in that expression is 贵. 贵. 贵 has a number of different meanings depending on the context. One of the most common meanings is to be expensive. It can also mean to be valuable. But in the case of this expression, when we're asking somebody's surname, it can mean honored or honorable. So when we ask 您贵姓, we're asking in literal terms, what is your honored surname? And then we have the word for surname, 姓. 姓. And as it says here in number 3, the word 姓 can be both a verb and a noun. So an example of where it is a noun might be, so I'll just pop an example up there. 你的姓是什么? So that's an example of where 姓 is used as a noun. 你的姓, your surname, 你的姓. So it's used as a noun there. And a clear example of where it's used as a verb is 你姓什么? So here, 姓 is used as a verb. These two characters here, 什么, we haven't learned yet, but we will learn soon, and they mean what. So this is literally, you are surnamed 姓, what. So where 姓 is used as a verb, I guess a literal way to translate it in English would be to say to be surnamed. To be surnamed. So 您贵姓, what is your honorable surname? And here 姓 is used as a noun. Now let's have a look at the next expression, classmate. 同学, 同学. So you'll notice that this is an expression made up of two characters, which means that it's made up of two syllables, remembering that one character equals one syllable, and vice versa, one syllable equals one character in Chinese. The first syllable or character, 同, means the same as, and it's used in a range of different words, which we'll learn as we go along. The second syllable or character, 学, means to study. So the expression in itself makes some sense. You're talking about two people who are both studying, or maybe even studying the same thing. So 同学 meaning classmate. The next word, 老师, 老师 meaning teacher, as it says there. Again, made up of two syllables or two characters, the first of which is 老. 老. 老 lao on its own has its own meaning, which is old. It has some other meanings as well, but we'll deal with those later on. In this expression, though, lao doesn't directly mean old at all, because a lao shi could be very young, they could be very old. In this expression, it doesn't necessarily mean that at all. The second syllable or character shi, one of the meanings is master, as in somebody who is highly skilled in a particular area. Quite often an area that involves manual skills, so maybe a carpenter or a builder. Could even be in something like martial arts, something like a chef, and so on. So, but the expression 老师 is just a general expression for a teacher. So it could be a teacher of anything, and it doesn't indicate their age at all. 老师 can also be used as a title, just as we might say Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones. You can also use 老师 in the same way. What we'll learn as we go on is that when we do use titles like that in Chinese, that we put the surname first and then we put the title afterwards. So for example, if you wanted to address somebody whose surname was Smith as Teacher Smith, then it would be Smith 老师. The next expression is a verb, and it is to say or to speak. When it's combined with other words for languages like Hanyu, which means Chinese language, it means to speak that language. So a very simple sentence that we could say is 我说汉语 I speak Chinese. 我说汉语 Once we know that structure, we can then start to use the same expression for other languages. 我说英语我说法语 We will have talked about this in the lecture. The basic structure of grammatical structure of Chinese is the same as in English. So we have subject plus verb, sorry, put my plus there, plus verb plus object. So in this little example here, 我 is the subject. That's who I'm talking about in the sentence, or making some comment about in the sentence. 说 is the verb, so this is the doing. And then 汉语 is the object of that verb. So I speak what? I speak Chinese. So that's the object of the sentence. We'll talk more about the grammatical structure of Chinese as we go through the lessons. If we have a look at the words for the different languages here, 英语 and 法语, we'll notice that they have one syllable in common with the word for Chinese, and that is 语, and is indicated by in the brackets here. 语 means language. So the structure of the names for these languages in Chinese is the first part here, 音, is from the name of the country, which in this case is England, and that in Chinese is 英国. Here the syllable 国, or the character 国, means a country, a state, or a nation. So the structure of these two words for English and French is based on the names of the country, 英国 for England or English, and 法国 for France, 法国, and of course for the language, 法语, 法语. Just very quickly, the name for England, 英国, that first character 英 in Chinese, one of its meanings is hero or heroic. So you could say that England for the Chinese is the country of heroes. 法 in 法国 means law. There are a lot of other meanings for that character as well, but in the case of the country name, it's both similar sound to the name of the country in its own language, and also it has the meaning of law. So France could be said to be the country of law. The difference between these two language names in Chinese and the expression for Chinese language in Chinese, the Han in Hanyu is the name of the minority or the ethnic group, the ethnic group that speaks the language, and that is Han Ren. Han Ren. Han is the major ethnic group in China, the one that most of us are most familiar with, but there are altogether 56 ethnic groups in China, of which the Han is just one, albeit accounting for 95% of people in China. So Hanyu is the language of the Han people. So moving along, we have the expression 我还是 You'll notice that it says here in brackets that it's a conjunction. So basically it's a joining word. It's joining two or more things together. 还是 is used in questions, and it's when you're asking about two or more alternatives. So you might, for example, say something like 你说英语还是法语？你说英语还是法语？ Oops, get the right characters there. 你说英语还是法语？ So there's our 还是 in the middle, and it's linking the 英语 and the 法语 back to the verb. So, do you speak English or French? And there's obviously a couple of possible answers to that question. And that moves us on to our next word. So the next word is 都 both or all. Now that's an adverb. And I'll explain that a little bit more. Adverbs means a word that adds meaning to a verb or adds additional meaning. I guess if you're adding meaning, you're adding additional. Yeah. So it adds meaning to a verb. So what do we mean by that? In our original sentence, 我说汉语, we just mentioned one language. Then we were asked the question, 你说英语还是法语? We're asked about two possible alternatives. If we wanted to say, I speak both, then we would use the word 都 in Chinese. So we would generally start the sentence off with the two alternatives, 英语、法语，我都说，我都说. So we would say 英语、法语 都说. So there's our do and there's our verb. So I speak both English and French, or you could say English and French, I speak both. A point I'd like to make about adverbs, and this is a rule that you can basically write down, is that adverbs always come before verbs in Chinese. So in English we can say I speak both French and English, or just simply I speak both. But in Chinese you have to say I both speak. 英语、法语我都说. So that's the rule of thumb. Adverbs always come before verbs. We'll see many examples of those as we go through the course. The other possible answer that we can give back is that we only speak one or other. And the word for only in Chinese is 只. So if we wanted to say I only speak English, we would say 我只说 characters 只说英语. I only speak English. There's our word for only 只. So again, you'll notice over here it says that 只 is an adverb. So it must come before the verb 说. 我只说英语. So we've looking down at the proper nouns. We've already covered 英国, the land of the heroes, or the country of the heroes, and we still have 美国, the United States. The first syllable, or the first character, 美, means beautiful. So you could say that in Chinese, America is the beautiful country. Now, I'm not sure why they call it that, but yeah, that's the name for the United States or for America, 美国.